Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Time to see my face. This time, I swear to God, I'm going to remember to hit record. Also going to remember to turn off the countdown timer that you see right here. We're going to get a good, clean recording of everything. Steve, hopefully it sounds good. Got some action for you guys today. A little bit of blood. You know how those things can go. A little hot up here for the first time up in the office. Then kind of, oh, hello, Virginia. It's, yeah, I do love the Hip Hop Anonymous. The Hippopotamus. That's a song. I can't remember the comedy team that did that, but it's pretty funny. Okay, we got people coming on YouTube, like an even number on YouTube and Facebook. I wonder if people are, hello, Mike. Mike, where's, I wonder if people are like going, you know what, Facebook, I'm done with you. I'm fucking done with you. All the time with you mucking about with everything. The fuck, man? We're trying to all just talk to our high school friends. You know what I'm saying? And you got to start all this shit going to YouTube. Of course, a lot of shit on YouTube too. It's everywhere. In fact, the best place that you can go to not suffer the slings and outrageous misfortunes of those who would want to give you misinformation is right here in this smiling face and this mellifluous voice. Because I don't do disinformation, son. It's not how we do it. We tell the truth, all the truth, nothing but the truth, not counting the lies they make up and tell you every week for half an hour. Not counting those, that's pretty good stuff. Oh, Don's not getting the notifications anymore. Yeah, I still don't know what to do about that. We are overwhelmed with work, which is a very good thing. I have too many things going on right now and trying to prepare for a super weapon show, which is also an enormous amount of work. And there's just all kinds of good stuff going on. But we haven't had a chance to check down. Because the thing is, if I call YouTube support or contact YouTube support, who knows how long that'll take. They're actually pretty good, but maybe I can check into that later. A real girl, I'll make a note. Never mind. I'm making notes for stuff I got to do after the show. YouTube. Ba-doom. Let's get chat going so you guys can see each other. YouTube notifications. All right. Casper Cat, hello. Christine, we got a whole plethora of awesome, lovely people up in this here house. Let's get rid of that. Bang. We'll get rid of that first. We'll go back to here. Look at that. I have actually turned off the timer, and I remember to turn, oops, not chat. I was trying to get all, Slay lower third. Oh, somebody's ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. And Facebook notifications too are also off. We got to fix that one too. So plus Facebook. All right, here we go. This is episode number 14 of Slay. In a minute, I'll get started on it. But of those of you who are just jumping in, who haven't caught up on all the episodes, of course, they are all at scottsigler.com. I read live. Steve Rickyberg takes the audio, edits it up, puts it out as our Sunday podcast episode. The Sunday podcast episodes are 1 week behind this live stream, just in case, anything happens. I get bit by a crocodile, something like that. Can't put out the episodes. We've got one grace period going there. So if you haven't caught up and you don't want spoilers, you can go back and listen to all that. But this kind of story, I don't think spoilers really matter all that much. This is a very different story. It's coming out kind of weird and interesting. Thank you, D. And yeah, so, stick around. You don't need the spoilers. Listen to this episode, then go back and listen to the other 13, and you guys will know what's going on. Let's get into it. Here we go. D just tipped $2. I didn't even know you could do that. Thanks, man. That's really awesome of you. Let's get into it. Let's go surfing now. Everybody's learning how. Come on safari with me. Come on safari with me. Okay, I'm going to move y'all's chat over. Thank you, Christine. I'm hitting record right now, and we're going to go. Hope you guys enjoy this story. This one is a little bit violent. Here we go. We are recording. Welcome to Slay, episode number 14. This one is called Lincoln versus Everybody. You will soon see why. Let me get you caught up on the story so far, and then I'm going to give you all kinds of fresh stuff to smear about your face, torso, and midriff. Here we go. Previously on Slay. Pragman, a bounty hunter wielding a pair of old-school Western six-shooters and using a lizard-like hound to track his targets, cornered Billy in the Nert Perp's alley. Pragman was about to shoot Billy down, but the man in gray used his crossbow to shoot one of the guns out of Pragman's hand. The man in gray claimed the Billy bounty for himself and told Pragman to either walk away or draw down. Meanwhile, unaware of the face-off between Pragman and Lincoln, Rolling Outlaws gang members Butch and Money Monday talked to boss Hawg about joining forces to track Billy down. But wait, there are more bounty hunters in this neighborhood. The sword-wielding Flechette Sisters and the sorcerer Oleus Oakbeard are also hunting for Billy. Now Billy and the Nerp Perp can do nothing but watch as Billy's fate is decided for him. Lincoln's mind calmed and categorized all before him. It was his gift. When the shit hit the fan, the world's ever-burbling ocean of stress and confusion stilled, became as flat as the surface of a pristine lake on a windless day. Lincoln saw many things at once. The lizard hound, the scent of its breath like hamburger about to go bad. The lizard's eyes, locked on Lincoln's throat. The lizard's front feet, splayed out slightly from the weight on them, showing the beast was ready to spring. Pragman's eyes, the eyes of a killer, but a nervous killer, the crinkles at the edges entrenched by the severity of the moment. Pragman's right hand, drifting near the worn wooden grip of his holstered Colt Walker. And Pragman's chest, into which Lincoln would pour rounds if the fool was dumb enough to slap leather or release the hound. The kid, Lil B, trembled like a damaged moth. Poor guy. One way or another, that kid was not leaving this alley alive. The hippie with the glasses, sitting calmly at the dead-end alley's back wall, smelling of patchouli oil and weed. Everything hinged on Pragman. Would he make the smart move, or would he force Lincoln's hand? Lincoln pulled his cloak aside, clearing it away from the holster on his right hip. His left hand held Bastard Maker, his ancient hatchet, while the fingers of his right hand wiggled near the grip of his Kel-Tec sidearm. "This bounty is mine," Lincoln said. "Walk away, Pragman, and take your mutt with you." The cloak-wearing psycho from the warehouse. Joe's murderer. He looked real. Solid. Normal, you would say, but only if you didn't count the gray cloak and the bizarre black cloud mask that hid his eyes, wavering and curling as if driven by an invisible breeze. The man in gray faced off against a crazy fucker armed with an Old West six-shooter holstered at his side. Billy could only sort of see the six-shooter and the holster. They wavered like a transparent overlay, barely visible to begin with and slowly fading. Pragman was the man's name. He had been moments from killing Billy before the man in gray shot He had been moments from killing Billy before the man in gray shot a second pistol out of his hand with some kind of little arrow. Pragman wasn't alone. He had a huge dog on a leash, at least 200 pounds of animal, only it wasn't a dog, Billy knew. Just like with the six-shooter, a dreamlike image covered the dog, seemed to occupy the same space. Billy didn't know what it was, had never seen the like. A freakish cross between a crocodile and a small bear, maybe. Pragman and the man in gray both wanted to kill Billy, kill him, and collect a bounty of 50 grand. Billy wasn't sure he'd ever possessed that much in his entire life, and that was cumulatively. It seemed he was worth more to this world dead than alive. And somehow, that didn't surprise him. Cumulatively. 5 syllables. Big Hack probably couldn't have even pronounced that word. Big Hack, who got devoured by shadow monsters. Pour one out on the curb for you, Kamare. There was nowhere to run. It was a dead-end alley. 3-story walls rising up on all 3 sides. The 2 freaks blocking the only way out. "Hey, Perp," Billy said. "You got some magic shit might get me out of here? Like a secret door or something? No, man, the perp said. I ain't got that kind of thread work, man. Billy found himself wishing he knew what the fuck thread work was, but he knew he wouldn't live long enough to find out. Either Pragman or the man in gray was going to punch his ticket. Pragman licked his lips, just the tip of his tongue peeking out, sliding from left to right. The kid is mine, he said. Lincoln watched for tells. He hadn't met this bounty hunter before, but he already had a hunch what those tells might be. Long experience taught him such things, honed a natural instinct for how creatures moved, how they thought, how they acted. First, Pragman would probably turn slightly, slowly, subtly, bringing his left foot back, his right foot forward, in hopes that his body might block the view of his draw by a split second, give him that tiny bit of edge. Then, right before that draw, probably a flaring of the nostrils, brought on by a fast, deep breath. 50 grand ain't much, Lincoln said. You willing to risk meeting your maker for that? Pragman forced a smile, trying to look tough, trying to look confident, but such things had no impact on Lincoln Franks. There's more going on than you seem to know, Pragman said. Slowly, carefully, he stepped back with his left foot, turned his shoulders slightly. But yeah, I'm willing to risk it. A man's got to make a living these days. Lincoln wallowed in the pure rush brought on by this dance of death. He would give the man one last chance. Dying ain't much of a way to make a living, boy. Pragman swallowed. For an instant, Lincoln thought he might do the smart thing and just walk away. Then, Pragman's nostrils flared. Billy didn't see motion as much as he saw a hint of it. Pragman, drawing his six-shooter so fast, it was nothing more than a twitch of his shoulders, but the man in gray must have moved first. Must have. Billy heard a buzzsaw of a sound ripping out from somewhere inside his cloak. A spray of sparks splashed against Pragman's chest as he pulled the trigger, his pistol's report so loud it felt like a physical thing. His bullet struck the dirty blacktop at the man in gray's feet. Pragman fell backward, the leash falling free from his limp hand. Butch heard it, faint but unmistakable, the sound of not-so-distant gunfire. Boss Hawg ran for his big white truck. The white-suited man moved fast for someone his size, covering the distance in bounding steps and jumping into the driver's seat. Money Monday drew his piece, kept it down low as he stepped in front of Butch. For his own part, Butch stayed cool, watching the show. The two guys in black trench coats that had driven in with Hawg sprinted for the white pickup even as Hawg gunned the big engine. Tires smoked. The pickup squealed away from the 7-Eleven. As the truck rumbled out onto the street, the two men dove into the bed. The truck was driving toward where the sound had come from. The same direction Billy had gone, Billy and Big Hack, who had followed him. You drive, Butch said to Money Monday. Let's see what happens. Billy saw the crocobear thing launch itself at the man in gray, tooth-filled maw open wide and reaching. The man's arm extended. He had a pistol in his hand. It let loose a burst of fire, right down the crocobear's throat. The jaws snapped down. The man in gray spun as the teeth clacked, his gray cloak sliding over the beast's head. The crocobear's momentum carried it forward, an enraged bull beguiled by a bullfighter's dance. The beast smashed headfirst into the alley wall, hitting so hard that bricks cracked and chunks of masonry scattered like shrapnel. The crocobear stumbled to its left, thumped down on its side. The man in gray pounced, brought his hatchet down on the crocobear's neck once, twice, 3 times, red blood spraying with each impact, splattering across the cracked alley wall with each uplift. Billy heard the man grunt with each strike, like he was more of an animal than the beast he attacked. A 4th strike, and the crocobear's head flopped free. Its ravaged tree trunk of a neck spurted a few final gouts of red that splashed across trash and dirt and blacktop and jagged chunks of broken red brick. The man in gray stood straight. The hatchet in his hand dripped strands of gore. He turned his shadow-covered eyes toward Billy. "Sucks to be you, kid," he said. "I'll make it quick." Lincoln put a fresh magazine in his Kel-Tec, then stepped forward, the soles of his boots squishing on fresh hound blood. The kid stared, eyes wide. So scrawny, so small. Some of the morning light shone into the dark alley, illuminating the kid's swollen right eye, a thick lump on his right cheek, a badly split lower lip. Someone had teed off on him. "You just killed Joe." Sorry. "You killed Joe," the kid said, his voice dulled by terror. "Isn't he enough? Don't kill me, man." Joe? Who was Joe? "Please," the kid said. I don't want to die." Lincoln told himself not to sniff, not to smell the kid's aura, but he had already drawn a breath deep through his nose before even finishing the thought. This kid, Lil B, smelled of guilt. He smelled of fear. He smelled of piss, too, just like he had back in the warehouse. The warehouse. That young thug who'd been there side by side with Little B. The young thug with a shotgun who had tried to blow Lincoln's head off. Lincoln had taken that gun away, had turned the tables, had eliminated the threat, had... Joe. That must have been Joe. Lincoln sniffed again. The kid, Lil B, he smelled of petty crimes. He smelled of lies. A con man in the making, maybe. He smelled of lies, but he didn't smell of violence, or theft, or evil, or murder. He was just a kid. A kid not that much older than Lincoln's own son, Sam. Little B's eyes flicked left, widened further. "Oh, shit!" Lincoln immediately whirled and stepped left, flaring his cloak wide as he did. Pragman's big revolver roared. Lincoln felt the impact in his lower back, a punch from a heavyweight, striking home with bone-breaking force. The life of a Rixator is a life of pain. First, learning to endure it. Then, learning how to make friends with it. Learning how to continue on whenever it paid a visit. To succumb to pain, to let it stop you, that was to die. Or worse. Bullets, teeth, knives, swords, claws, spears, tail spears. I'll do that line again, sorry. Here we go. Bullets, teeth, knives, swords, claws, spears, tail spurs, axes. Lincoln had felt all of those things and more in his day. He'd survived them all because he had learned well, learned when he could ignore pain and when he must heed its call. He finished his turn, knowing from the gunshot's report where the shooter was, only a few steps away. Pragman was on one elbow, his chest a mix of blood and the glowing, wiggling threads that had absorbed much of the Keltec's fiber-coated rounds. Pragman saw the hatchet coming, saw death coming. To his credit, he got off one more round, another deafening shot in the alley's close confines. Pragman missed. Bastard Maker slammed down, the blade crunching through Pragman's skull. "Oh, wow," the Nerd Perp said. "That's some pretty rad shit, man." Billy couldn't look away. The man in gray yanked his small axe out of Pragman's head. A spray of blood came with it. The fake cowboy slumped to the blacktop like so much spoiled meat. The man in gray turned. That spooky mini cloud still hid his eyes. His eyes, but not his mouth, his chin, his chest, or his shoulders, all of which were splattered with blood. From the Crocobear or from Pragman? Maybe both. The man in gray walked toward Billy. He stumbled once, but quickly righted himself. He held the gore-streaked hatchet in one hand, that automatic pistol in the other. Billy felt cold. The seconds, his last seconds, stretched out. He saw that the man wore armor, gray, like everything else about him. The armor had the form fit of modern stuff Billy saw in the movies, yet it looked medieval, covered with little symbols Billy didn't recognize. Runes. He didn't recognize them because they were runes. Billy would have liked to see Grandma one more time. Tell her that his death wasn't on her, that she had done everything she could to raise him up right. People make choices. Choices have consequences. Billy had made one very, very bad choice. And now it was time to pay the piper. The man in gray raised the hatchet. Billy did not look away. How many times do you get to see such a thing? Once. Only once, apparently. He wasn't going to close his eyes and go out like a bitch. But the hatchet didn't come down. The strange black smoke swirled, hiding the eyes of the blood-spattered killer. For once, Billy had no words. He stared up, waiting for the end. "Hey, man," the Nerd Perp said. "Not to interrupt or anything, but there's a couple of groovy-looking ladies coming this way, man." Both Billy and the man in gray looked toward the end of the alley. In some other reality, or more likely in some really weird internet porn, Sorry, I screwed that up, you guys. Got it. Here we go. Try it again. Both Billy and the man in gray looked to the end of the alley. In some other reality, or more likely in some really weird internet porn, a pair of stacked blonde honeys running his way might be a good thing. A music video with a half-baked plot and full-fledged booties. The fact that both women held their but also not their swords, though, that likely meant they were coming to kill him. The man in gray turned back to Billy. The smoke mask cleared. Gray eyes. Of course they were gray. Lines at the corners, bags underneath, rimmed with red. The man looked older than Billy had expected. Those eyes had seen too much bad and not enough good. "Hey, kid, you want to live?" Billy nodded. "You do what I tell you, when I tell you, and maybe you will," the man in gray said. He slid the hatchet somewhere inside his cloak. When the hand came out again, it was empty. Fingers locked on Billy's shirt, and in an instant, Billy was yanked upward. Lincoln scrambled up the alley wall, dragging with him a drug-dealing kid worth 50 large. Only it wasn't just 50 large. It couldn't be. Bounty hunters didn't come out of the woodwork for a prize that small. Boss Hawg, the Flechette Sisters, Oleus fucking Oakbeard, and Pragman, whoever he was. Or rather, whoever he had just been. Lincoln didn't know how bad his wound was. Pragman's bullet had broken a rib, at least. Probably worse. Lincoln needed to get himself and the kid the hell out of there before any more bounty hunters showed up. A spike of metal hit next to Lincoln's head, chonking into the brick and sticking firm. He tossed the kid up and over the roof's edge just as another spike chonked into the wall. Then Lincoln launched himself over the edge, counting off the seconds before the Flechette Sisters would scramble up the wall after him. The kid was on the roof on his hands and knees, trying to get to his feet. Lincoln's bike was only a block away, but those crazy bitches were close behind. They'd follow him down to the street, and they would try to finish him. He needed to pick up a few more precious seconds. What he needed was air support. Lincoln ran for the far edge of the roof, yanking the kid to his feet by his shirt collar and projecting his need up and out into the morning sky. Stale bread. Crackers were one thing, but stale bread? Shitbird was going to get it if he made this work. He had to make it count. Sorry, Steve. Shitbird had to make this count. She had to get that stale bread. Wings folded tight against her body, she dove with speed and grace that stupid pigeons could only dream of. If they could dream at all, which they probably couldn't because they were stupid pigeons. The rooftop seemed to rush toward her at window splatter speed. Scrambling up the alley wall, she saw them. 2 women with swords strapped to their backs. Shitbird extended her wings, leveling out sharply and rocketing toward the first woman's head. An instant before Shitbird passed her by, the crow squeezed. The woman looked up just as a stream of bird droppings splashed into her eyes. Shitbird rose and banked right, coming around in a tight circle. Shitbird rose and banked right, coming around in a circle so tight it hurt her wings. She saw the sword woman wipe at her eyes, then panic reach for the roof's edge as she fell away. Her fingers hit that edge, but slipped off, and she tumbled down. The second woman pushed off the wall, caught the first in midair. Even as they both dropped to the alley, the second woman flicked her wrist. Something sharp and pointy whipped through Shitbird's tail, grazing the feather tips before shooting higher into the sky. That spike had almost landed. Well, fuck this. Fuck this right in its fucking beak. Shitbird banked left, above the rooftop, and flew out of the women's line of sight. All right, let's go back to main and stop recording. Let's pause. Bang! What do you think about that? All right, had all kinds of trouble. The chat screen button is right next to the Swarmy Sound button. I don't know why I've never hit that before, but I think I hit it 3 times tonight. So there you go, everybody. Come on up, baby. Good to go. Oh, I like the story, but that was a rough read. Maybe I'm a little bit tired, y'all. Maybe I'm a little bit tired. Chris McWhite is a half-baked plot. I see that. Nyoka, how are you, man? Good to see you. Let's see. Shelba Pittman is watching the Madden 23 Super Bowl again. Cleveland Browns playing Philadelphia Eagles scores. I don't know what you're talking about, unless it's a replay of something that you guys play at home. Broncanus, what period did you notice your writing became exponentially better? I feel your comedy, especially Mount Fitzroy, is so effortless and effective. Your humor has had me rolling for years. Thank you. Thank you very much for the compliments. Well, I mean, I give you the non-serious answer. My writing became exponentially better when I was like 7. It just shit. You know, when you got it, you got it. Actually, I really can't answer that. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, let's see. Hold on. Get this headphone set up. Look. Hey, baby, you want to... Hold on. Let's go back to main. Look at this camera. Very too loud. Sorry, guys. Thanks, baby. David Lamb asks, how many chapters remain? I don't know. I'm going to guess probably 15 to 20, 25. I can't really tell. I had a whole plot line mapped out, and then through some stuff that happened last episode in this, I found maybe a slightly better way to finish it, so I have to go in and break that down and see what we're going to do. Yes, I got a new toy, Rob. I've got a little magic applause button. What's up, y'all? What's up? That's all right, Neil. You can watch me anywhere you want, man. It's all good. I've still got broken headphones. Only one ear works. I left the good headphones for A. So, and then when you come in, can you hit that fan? Of course. It's getting hot in here. Whoop. The hell? Hi, ladies. You know what? You can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. So I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're enjoying the story. I'm really enjoying where these characters are going. We will see what happens now. I will give you a little teaser. The Lincoln meeting Billy face to face. We're going to have a chase scene in the next episode. And then as part of that chase scene, which may take 2 episodes, hopefully not 3 episodes, we are going to learn a whole lot more. You're going to find out about what thread work is. You're going to learn what the patchwork is. You're going to learn about the island, the city, all these things in the patchwork that Lincoln desperately wants to avoid. And it should be fun. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Look at you. Look at you, sexy beast.
Hi, guys. Oh.
Can
I have this?
Yep.
Hello.
Just a minute. There you are, my darling.
There we go.
There we go.
I hope you guys are doing great.
That's if Bing Crosby was a streamer, he'd be like, someone turn on my goddamn headphones.
Do you remember the Turn On Your Heart Light song?
Turn on your heart light. Let it shine wherever you go.
That
Yes, I remember it.
And Chris Cross's Luke and Laura song
How does
from
that go?
General Hospital.
Oh, that was it.
Laura. I can't remember the whole thing, but like those were the crossover medias that I lived for back in the 80s. Those two.
And is your headphone volume okay, babe?
I think so.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go through our housekeeping. Then we're going to talk about some literary, publishing, political business. That's what we're going to talk about. What we're going to talk about is, I was supposed to say this for the show, but I forgot. The Open Library / Internet Archive, where lots of books are offered for free, is getting sued by big publishing, including my primary publisher, Penguin Random House, about piracy. Is it hurting sales? We're going to talk a little bit about that, all that good stuff right there. Upcoming live performances.
Hey, Akil, nice to see you.
With this face, and she'll probably show up too. Who knows?
Most of the time, yeah.
I forgot to get the cover for Marie Curie.
I can go grab the book. I have
go grab the book.
Bye, guys.
We'll be right back. So I've got 3 things coming up. March 24th at WonderCon, alternate history and speculative fiction panel. That'll be at room 207. If you're going to WonderCon, please come say hi. There's an autograph signing immediately after, so you can hang out with me and all the other authors. It'll be great. And the way those usually go at WonderCon is, it's like 5-6 people in line. Everybody just hangs out after they get their shit signed. It's a great hour to chit chat. So come check it out. April 18th, 7 p.m. Mysterious Galaxy in San Diego, California. Also gonna be talking about that book. And then May 3rd, 7:30 p.m. Warwick's Bookstore in downtown village of La Jolla, and should be very good. And this is the book right here. Let's take a look at it. Epson Entertainment, we go hard. We do hard. Hardcover. The Hitherto Secret Experiments of Marie Curie.
The book comes out on April 11th, and you can pre-order it now wherever you buy books if you want.
Yep. And I'm in this sucker. Jonathan Mayberry, Aletha Contis, Jane Yolen, Shannon McGuire, Lisa Price, Stacia Douche, Brian Thomas Schmidt story in there. So it's loaded. It's loaded. It's really fun stuff. It is about stuff Marie Curie did that they don't want you to know.
Yep.
And mine involves ghosts, and radiation.
And I've mentioned this on Sigler in Place before, but if you're a longtime junkie or you know me personally, my favorite Scott Sigler story is Red Man. It's a short story. If you haven't read it, you should. It's fantastic.
James, I believe it will be available on Audible because that's where the money's at these days.
Yeah, and this story in this book, Scott's story in this book, gives Redman a run for their money. I love it so much. I think Redman still squeaks in at first, but it's the first thing in a long time that I've gone back and read several times for no reason. And you would love it.
Sean, I don't know what Neil Diamond's E.T. means, but I want to know. So could you elaborate?
He sang the Heartlight song.
Oh, that was for fucking E.T.?
Yes, of course.
Turn on your
Who else
heart
has
light.
a heart light?
I don't know, it sounds like some guy singer says when he's trying to get in somebody's pants. Turn on your heart light. Let me see your naked booty.
That is definitely not the lyric. Definitely
to be
not.
fair,
definitely
E.T. had a naked booty. Did he not?
He did. My mom, when she is talking about, you guys all know and love Zippy, when Zippy is feeling unwell, sometimes she says she feels like E.T. white down by the river. So if you've seen E.T., you know what I'm talking about. And if not, sorry, spoiler.
Let's go through the basic stuff. Text, SIG text 855-955-5095. Our April 1st sale is coming up very soon. We got some super cool new merch. I'm quite tickled with it. I think you guys are going to dig it. And you get a 10% coupon if you're signed up to our SMS list. Do it. And then, of course, you can also get it if you're signed up for the newsletter, scottsligo.com/newsletter. Subscribe to it. It's all good.
In the chat room on Facebook, Chris McWhite asks, where do we make the most money? And the answer is, I can't tell you that, but what I can say is the thing that is best for us is that you buy it where you want to buy it, because us building relationships with Audible, with Amazon, all that stuff matters too. So while we may make a tiny bit more money one way or the other, sort of spreading the wealth gives us a good sort of street cred with wherever you buy it from. So whatever makes you happy, buy it that way. That all helps us, and it helps us in a really important way.
Yeah. Mike, do you still have the new style jerseys? That's a little bit further down the road. We've got we have the vendor for the jerseys. They're super cool.
Yeah.
We are not ready to sell those yet because we're trying to do print on demand for almost everything. So if you buy a shirt that's made somewhere and shipped to you and doesn't actually touch my dirty little fingers. But the jerseys, we haven't figured out how we're going to do that just yet. We're probably going to wind up doing a biannual pre-order.
Yeah, like a couple, 2-3 times
we'll
a year.
We'll make a big list. We get you guys on it, and we'll ship them out. But we haven't got that figured out yet. But we definitely will be getting them out.
And we're working on it because we want to have jerseys for you guys, even if they're not the old school style. And if you are familiar, if you were around when we did the Keep Calm and Run the Place That I Call T-shirts, it would be something like that.
Yeah.
Where we have you guys, like, if you want them, you have like a month and a half to order, and then we batch ship them. Or batch order them and batch ship them to you.
All right. And then coming up on April 8th, we have the next Junkies Party hosted by Steve the Iceberg Rickenberg.
Is it? I think it's April 8th.
I think so. That runs from 4 to 11 p.m. Pacific time, which means if you're an East Coaster, you can stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning getting schnockered with the Iceberg and talking about Siglerism stuff in your life.
Is it normally the first Saturday of every month?
That is the first Saturday.
No, that's the second Saturday.
Son of a bitch.
That said, though, you guys, this is a little out of order for Siglebrations, but it's going to be April 8th. I keep doing that instead of April 1st because Steve Rickenberg is going to be hanging out with his pals, including me, on April 1st, on Saturday, April 1st, which is this coming Saturday.
I can't tell time.
And so we're going to, obviously, Scott decided the right answer, which is we're going to move it to the 8th. And the reason there's hanging out and all that jazz, Mr. Rickenberg has a birthday tomorrow.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Iceberg. Turn on your heart light to you.
And many more.
Rob Otto asked, can we pay extra for you to touch the jerseys with your dirty little fingers? Rob, for you, ship it to us, man. I'll touch with more than just my fingers, bro. More than just my fingers, because you know how you are.
And
yes.
Ollie Kirby asks, do we have baby onesies? And my answer is you're going to have to check in next week, but I suggest you check in next week. I think
you should tune in next week, Ollie. And no spoilers or anything, but you should probably tune in next week. Yeah. All right. And remember, April 1st sale coming up, coupon coming up. Make sure you sign up for the text newsletter. We'll get that. Real quick, we're going to bust through
yeah. Oh, no, that's a good point. Don Lashinsky says my weekends are screwed up. Yes, I'm hanging out with Steve Rickyberg this weekend. It's actually April 1st is the first Saturday. So I guess we'll have Steve tell us. Steve, do you want to do the junkie party on April 1st or do you want to do it on April 8th? Because Don's right, I'm wrong. You absolutely could.
We'll have to figure that out. Going to pup dates. Look at this picture of our little peanut.
Come on.
She seems stressed out about something.
She seems so meaty there, but she's so tiny.
Does. She looks very beefy. She looks like the thing Lincoln had to cut the head off just to get through it all. And our big pup this week.
Absolutely not that beefy.
The atmospheric river of dog pictures. Here we go. 2 little buddies.
So this is actually from last year. There has been so much rain in San Diego this year. So much rain. Scott just asked me today to upload more dog photos that he can pick from. And there is one. The weird thing, I was just talking to my lovely mother-in-law about an hour ago about this. Our dogs don't have enough time in to get used to the rain because until this year for them, it's rained, 0.2 inches every year. And right now we're at like 15 inches and they do not understand why I can't change or Scott can't change the weather. So this is from last year. Those are their sweet little raincoats that do a good job. But
do a good job.
Not
to be fair, Rob says I'm not good with calendars or math. To be fair, calendars are math. They're a mathematical construct. So go fuck yourself. And let's go back to Maine. And then, I forgot. We got a couple junkie pictures and we'll talk that, our version of political stuff. Ready? Go to Junkie Pictures. And ready, babe?
Yeah.
Bang.
Okay, so you guys, in the last handful of weeks, and just today I mentioned Dawn Lashinsky. She's in the chat room on Facebook. This is her fiance, Matt McRoberts, a handful of years ago when we were at, was it Cleveland Comic-Con, which was, oh my goodness, the best time. And it was wonderful. We got to hang out. We got to meet a whole bunch of people. It was a great, cool regional con, and it was one of our favorite cons that we've ever been to. Matt McRoberts and Michael, and I can't remember Michael's last name, Dadgummit. They were junkies. They pitched Scott coming as a guest of honor. He came as a guest of honor. It was super fun, super cool. We've got, so Dawn is Matt McRoberts' fiance, and a few weeks ago she said, hey, can you celebrate his birthday? And we did, but I forgot to add the photos. So there's a handful of photos because, one second. Matt and Dawn are getting married, I think, in September of this year, and they are fucking glowing up as they move towards it. And I wanted to show you a few photos because they're gorgeous. So this is Matt now in a Super Weapon t-shirt.
What's up, bro?
That was from a handful of years ago. You can tell he's glowed up a little bit. Or a lot of it.
Yep.
Fantastic. It's a good look on the Super Weapon t-shirt.
Anybody's Super Weapon t-shirt looks good. Superweaponband.com.
But I want to show you some of their engagement photos. There's just the cutest. Come on.
Very
sweet. At this.
Very sweet.
And September 23rd, Dawn says. This next one, I don't know what the plan was here. I think these are all engagement photos, but I love the different. I love the formal ones. I love the in sort of in situ in a market. I love.
You know
all
why I
these
like
photos.
this one? I'll tell you why. Because in that case behind him, there's probably a pie there. They went out to get a little bit of pie, hang out.
Yeah.
Hey, let me go throw some food down your throat and we'll get married and shit. What do you think?
I love all of these pictures. I love this couple because they're just so joyful about it, and I get to follow along. And I love to celebrate it. We have another, I think. One more.
Oh, no, I don't think we do. Let me go back.
Oh, come on.
One sec. I think there were only 4.
Oh, all right.
Yep, there were only 4.
All right. Then I have a few more to share in the next few months, maybe. And they get married in September.
My stuttering version of reading took up too much time, so now we're going to get about 15, 20 minutes in talking about this thing. You ready?
We don't want to do the dog pics?
I already did them.
No, the junkie dog pics.
Yep, other junkie pics. You got it.
We just have 2.
We have 4. Those were the only junkie pics I had. Those 4 right there.
We'll do dog pics next week, Ben. There are dog pics too, like the junkies' dogs.
Did not get those.
That's okay. We'll do it next week.
Next week. We will not be doing it live because we'll be doing it next week. But next week it will be live. Let's give you guys what we know about this overall situation, headline, and let's go to the Ars Technica.
Well, he's calling this up. I'll say 2 things. Brian Leach asked a great question. Are we going to get a cameo of the gangster Mr. Double M in Slay? And I don't know if that's the case, but that would be very cool.
Great question, but I don't think that we will. We're not going to have anybody in Slay getting their nuts cut off by a jealous cat.
And Mike Deschamps, Jude is on his way.
Okay.
Jude is on his way.
Jude's on his way. So what we have here is, let's be frank. This is a little bit of greed, and I'm tied up in this tangentially by a little bit because my primary publisher is the one that is leading the charge. Book publishers with surging profits struggle to prove Internet Archive hurt sales. So that's what we're going to talk about in a minute. Baby, can you just let's give the overview of what they're suing for. The big four are all together suing.
Yeah, so here's the thing. If you guys don't know what the Internet Archive is, the Internet Archive is a way for you to go back and look at cached static pages of the internet, and that helps a lot sometimes when you're looking. You can't you can't dig deep, but you can see the static page. And why this is an issue for the big four publishers is, of course, if there is an archived book on the internet, if there's a book that was digitally uploaded to the internet, those are static pages. They work just exactly the same way as these pages work, right? All you can do is look at them. And what they're claiming is that in 2020, they sued the Internet Archive, saying that this was an infringement on their publication rights because this was widely available in the pandemic. And the Internet Archive's argument is this is book lending just like a library does, but in 2020, 2021, and 2022, you couldn't necessarily go to a library and do this. And what's interesting about this is there's zillions of books online. There's also zillions of books you can Google. And
2000 was a big year.
Yeah, and just do it on Google and read whole pages. And the argument from the publisher side is this is infringing on their copyright in a different way than library books do, or digital books that the library lends, because they are still tracking all of that. And there's no way that the Internet Archive can correctly track that.
See, here's interesting. It looks like this book is by Holly Lisley or Lyle, whatever. I'm not familiar with the last name. Courage of Falcons. This is a library book. If you guys can see this little bit right here, somebody scanned this from the library. And that is part of what big publishing's issue is theoretically anybody can grab this book and scan it and upload it. And I don't know if you have to have permission from the author or the copyright holder therefore.
Well, technically speaking, yes, you should have that if you are going to be hosting the server that's on, because it doesn't belong to you, it belongs to the person who created it. Okay. That said, this book is my property. I own it. And theoretically, just like everything else that's my property, I'm able to say I want to sell it and sell it online. The issue here is it's neither of those things. It's my property, kind of, but I am not selling it. I'm loaning it, just like a library does. So it's an interesting question. And I think that, me personally, I'll say, sort of think the publishers are being short-sighted. What do you think?
I think they're being a little bit short-sighted, and this is, we'll come back to this story in our second. It has the linchpin to the whole concept. Yeah, Akil, they did. They have gone full Metallica.
They went full Metallica.
A significant part of my career and my success in writing is because I gave shit away for free. And people then could be like, great, well, this is free. I'm going to give it to my buddy. Can I give it to my buddy? I'm like, fuck yeah, go crazy. So, being able to compete in a thoroughly saturated industry where 300, 400,000 books a year are published in America alone, finding a way to cut through and get in front of people and free kind of does that. And it also reduces the barrier of risk for people like, I don't have 20 hours on crap, but this free, all right, I'll take a chance on it. Yeah. So I think they're missing an opportunity here, except, it's such a delicate situation because they do. Random House puts in all this money to have a building where people work, or they work from home now. You have to have an editor to sign the book. You have to have an editor work with the author on the book. You have to have copy editors do it. You have to have a cover artist come in. These all get paid for by the publisher. And then, of course, once upon a time, there was distribution. Now there's not distribution. Frankly, don't let them lie to you. There's no fucking distribution costs except for just the stuff that's in a few bookstores that are left. A digital product has a distribution cost of zero, a storage cost of zero.
Well, I mean,
so that's what they're claiming.
There's still a storage cost, right? Like for whoever does it. If it's Barnes and Noble, it's small.
For the book or for the ebook electronic audiobook?
Either way, there's still a cost to have a server, is my point, right? But it's far different. And he said an important thing here. What's happening, and it's happening in lots and lots of industries since the pandemic and before the pandemic, what's happening is big publishing wants to maintain the status quo because they know how that works. They know what their profit margins are, and they know how they make money, and they know how they employ people. And of course, any business wants to manage that because you don't want to have to do mass layoffs. You don't want to have to do mass hiring of, people who haven't had time. You want this to be a steady state. But the world of publishing is changing, right? Just like music, 20 years ago, we're going through growing pains, and they want to keep what they want to keep, and that's just not how consumers work anymore.
This is how lawyers get paid. This is how corporations work. They want absolute full control over everything that is theirs, and also that which is not theirs. They want to control the source of the products going to the market. They want to control the market. They want to control the buyers in that marketplace. Mm-hmm. They want absolute control over everything because it's, conversation we have in this house a lot. They want everything. They just don't want enough.
Yeah, they won't take enough. They want it all.
They
want it all. Used to have, right? The only way you were able to read Stephen King's The Dark Tower, the only way, was to buy that book. You could buy it in hardcover, you could buy it in paperback. But back when it was published, at the time it was published, or Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, the only way you could buy that when it was published was to physically hold a book like this. That's not the way the world works anymore.
Let me read a little bit of this. I'm reading the story in the Register about this. The Internet Archive began its book scanning project back in 2006, and by 2011 started lending out digital copies. It did so, however, in a way that maintained the limitation imposed by physical book ownership. Its Controlled Digital Lending, CDL, initiative allows only one person to check out the digital copy of each scanned physical book. The idea is that the purchased physical book is being lent in digital form, but no extra copies are being lent. That I didn't realize. That's super important. So that it's not a multiplier factor. If I was to scan one of my books in there and Rob grabs it, that means that Steve can't get it until Rob checks it back in.
Just like a library book.
The Internet Archives presently offers 1.3 million books to public in digital form. And now here's Internet Archives people talking. Quote, this activity is fundamentally the same as traditional library lending and poses no new harm to authors of the publishing industry. Or to the publishing industry, answered. Libraries collectively paid publishers billions of dollars for the books in their print collections and are investing enormous resources in digitization in order to preserve those texts. CDL helps them take the next step by making sure the public can make full use of the books that libraries have brought. Now, here's where it gets, to me, super interesting. So we're getting court decisions. We're about to get a court decision on this. I don't know the inner details of it, but this headline in Ars Technica kind of...
Can I have that paper towel?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, kind of spills the whole thing out. Book publishers with surging profits struggle to prove Internet Archive hurt sales.
Yeah. Hi, Tiny.
During the lockdown and even before the lockdown, book publishing, which has been lamenting the death of print books forever and ever, they're making money hand over fucking fist. There's also a lot of consolidation. Companies are being eliminated. Publishers are being bought out. They are making big bucks, and now they're in court trying to say, this is so terrible.
So much.
We're going to lose money, but it doesn't look like that's the case.
Let's take a moment and make sure, because Puffkin just mentioned on YouTube what Empty Set's stance is on this. And we'll talk a little more in depth about our personal views in a second. But Puffkin's comment on YouTube is, I feel like they're being short-sighted. Giving people access is necessary to make a fan who will support you forever. Fans who may not have the money to support right now, but might in the future. And that's very much our stance, right? We are humans who want you to love Scott's writing always, right? You might not love every book, but you're always willing to give him a shot. There's this theory for creative people called 1,000 true fans, that if you have 1,000 true fans, you can make a living and a life and do that creative thing that you love, because those people will always support you. It works for actors, it works for writers, it works for musicians. For example, Scott, I think we sort of talk about Scott has a couple, 3,000 true fans. And we can do this forever if we accept enough that Scott has several thousand true fans, and we can continue, which is why we do this, which is why we do this for free, which is why we have the 15-book bundle that is just sitting up there because it's still the pandemic and it's still for free and you can download all of those. It's why we give things away, because we believe that the enemy of our success is not pirating or free publication, it's obscurity.
Yeah, that's a quote from Cory Doctorow.
Cory Doctorow, yeah.
Sorry about my
Jude
throat
made
tickle.
it.
Quote from
Hi, my
Cory
love.
Doctorow that is has driven a lot of my marketing strategy and my analysis of the business world. My enemy isn't piracy. My enemy is obscurity.
Yeah. So that's kind of how we feel, very much how we feel about these
Gosh, guys, I'm
these
so sorry.
searches.
All right, so in a nutshell, you guys can look that more up if you want. I'll tell you right now, big publishing is going to win. They're going to sue the Internet Archive. The Internet Archive is going to go bankrupt because they can't pay it. The Internet Archive is going to get shut down, and we're going to see an even broader and more accelerated advancement by corporations to take over, frankly, everything, eliminate the past, wipe out anything, and be able to dictate their own vision of what the marketplace should be. This is what's going to happen. Things are changing forever. Yeah.
I don't disagree. I do think that the publishers may win this. The judge seems pretty skeptical about it right now in the public hearings, but they probably will win. What I disagree with is this is going to stop free sharing of books. It won't.
There's nothing you can do.
It will never stop free sharing of
They
books.
need, instead of letting this horse run out of the barn and escape into the wilds, they need to put a saddle on this motherfucker and ride it. Because, as you guys are all proof, free shit establishes your credentials as a creator, and a large percentage of those people who consume it for free and like it turn around and spend their money on it because they want more of the stuff that you make. We're heading into the end of this right now, but so I will go back to me.
Oh, I do want to mention while he's is calling up whatever else, this is a weird confluence of things this weekend. On March 20th, thanks to Howard DiNatale, we know this, March 20th of 2020, we did our first Sigler in Place. If you go to the Sigler Junkies page on Facebook and scroll until you find Howard's post, he reposted. He saw it in the feed, his feed, like 3 years ago today, and he posted it. And it's Scott, and he's sitting in this room. But if you watch that video, it looks 100% different. And there's so many things that have changed in the last 3 years about this room, about our business, about our relationship. Of course, you guys know that as well. All these things. And it was a beautiful thing to watch. So if you watch it, there's like white walls behind him, and there's like a plant plant over there or whatever. It's crazy pants, but it was so cute. So I just wanted to say congratulations. You made twice now. You have created an internet sensation out of nothing that people continue to follow. And it's 3 years now, and you should be proud of that.
Look at this hand. Well, this hand takes care of something else is what's going on. No, that was gross. Sorry, I shouldn't have done that. All right.
I just wanted to say
I was
congratulations.
petting the dog. Thank you very much. All right, you guys, again, the fiction's taking, now this weekly show has largely become about the fiction read, and we follow up with whatever information we can after. Again, we did talk about, this is the next book that's out. I have a short story in this. This is not a full book by me. Keep that in mind. Available on hardcover, probably paperback right out of the gate, hopefully audiobook.
Pre-orderable right now. It's actually out on April 11th.
Because weekend, it's about April 11th. Over at the new website, thenewscottsigler.com. You can go get all of your special links.
On Facebook, D79 says, I won't lie, I sat at Borders and read the entirety of Infected. And you know what, D? Congratulations.
Sweet.
We love that. Like,
That's
do
great.
what you got to do because you're still here. And that published in 2007. So it works, right? Sometimes you pay with money. Sometimes you pay with loyalty. Sometimes you pay with sharing your favorite new book find with somebody that you love. There's lots and lots of ways to do that.
So give you some guidance on the new site. It's not even close to where I want it to be just yet, but at least it's up and it's running. The best way to find that book, the search is working really good on the new site, better than the old site. Just go to scottsigler.com and search, put in CURIE, Bing. There you go. There's my appearances for it, but you just go here. And as usual, we guide you to the vendor of your choice because we don't give a shit how you get it. We prefer that you would pay for it. We get, put food on the table. If you guys buy the books by any method you want, we're going to get a little chunk of that.
Exactly.
But, when you can't buy it, we try and find ways to help you out when you
We've
can.
all been there. Also, if you buy an autographed copy, you help 2 small businesses. You help us and you help Mysterious
Do I have
Galaxy.
autographed on here? Yep.
Yeah.
There's autographed this button right here. Let's take a look. That goes to the Mysterious Galaxy website. These people are still relatively new. They bought it from the previous owners. We had a relationship with the previous owners.
In the pandemic.
We have a relationship with the new owners. They are doing all of our autographed copies, almost all now, and this is a great place to buy stuff because you are supporting a brick and mortar store that puts in an enormous amount of work to make books available, to sell books, to employ people who want to be selling books. It's kind of great.
Yeah, and so we have a great relationship with Mary Elizabeth, the old owner. We have a great relationship with the new owners. The store is fantastic. They are operating on a shoestring, just like we are. We're a small crew, so. Earlier, we had a question of what way do we get the most money? And this is a perfect answer to that. Like, we would get the most money. I could figure that out for you, but I would rather 2 small businesses get a benefit here and we get a little less money and they continue to think of us as good friends and good a good author relationship and stuff like that.
Preposterous Hippopotamus asks, is there a target age for it? My son is advanced, but still in the 4th grade. I'm sure, my story's a little bit violent, but recommended reading level, minimum age 12, maximum age. The hell? Why would you have a maximum reading level?
Because they have to choose it in the metadata, and they're saying it's a young adult book. So the maximum, when they choose 17, they're saying this is a YA book. So Preposterous Hippopotamus, 1, great name. 2, if they're saying it's young adult, I think it might be okay for your 4th grade, depending. But
buy
you could
the book,
take a look at it.
read my story, then pass it on. You can decide for yourself. I think I'm going to take a guess looking at the lineup here. Then my story's probably like one of the most violent stories
probably
in the collection. So if you read mine, it's fine. Everything's going to be good.
Ginnia, if you're getting offline, I hope you're dry and everything is good. Ginnia is in our town, so it's been pretty wet here.
I think we lost her, but someone was saying they got surgery coming up. Who was that?
Oh, that's Rosa. That's my pal Rosa.
Okay.
She's going to do
Good
great.
luck, Rosa.
I know you're going to do great, Rosa.
Good luck.
And I'm here for you if you need me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for time. We'll be back on March 29th for Slay Part 15. Until then, we want you to stay smart.
We need you to stay science.
And speaking of science, now there's a goddamn fungus.
Oh, yeah.
And
Shigella is too. It's a bacteria.
Shigella is now becoming immune to antibiotics.
Well, it's been for a while, but now it's immune to all the big ones.
All the big ones. And then there is a fungus that people are calling the Last of Us fungus that apparently has blown up during the pandemic. And there was so much, I don't know, antibiotics or whatever, or antifungal.
Antibiotic
now this
resistance
fungus
is a huge
is
thing.
friggin' resistant. So when you
Stay safe.
I know they put a lot of alarming headlines, but when you see stories about the next pandemic is upon us, take a couple of minutes, just give it a read, just give it a quick look,
And if you haven't already done this in the last 3 years, the 5-second rule is fucking suspended forever.
Why?
Because if it drops on the floor and there's Shigella or fungus or something, and you pick it up and put it in your face.
You're saying we're not suspending the 5-second rule. We're saying exceptions. The 5 rule. Okay, the 5-second rule. There's no 5-second rule, you sons of bitches.
We are suspending the 5-second rule. Don't eat anything off a strange
tuna cracker
floor.
that fell on a floor. I mean, I don't know who would do such a thing.
And remember, if it's in your own house and you wear shoes inside your house, then you walked outside where all that fungus is, and it's in your house. Don't eat shit off the floor now.
There's shitbird fungus outside in the poop that you stepped in, so be careful. Which means
no eating food off the floor
Which means,
right now.
For the love of science, stay informed, ladies and gentlemen. And now we go. I didn't turn this camera on one time
Iceberg,
tonight.
happy birthday.
Got to turn this camera on one time.
We
all right,
love
ladies
you.
and gentlemen, you may now all kiss off into the sky. Again, if you are interested in crazy, fun, science-y type stories, check out the hitherto secret experiments of Marie Curie. And I guess that's it. You may all now kiss off into the sky. You ready, babe?
Yep.
Hey, I didn't know the mouse over. Keep it.
I don't know what's happening. What's happening?